Yeah, that we offer something to people and they want more. So there's that approach that you give an inch, they'll take a mile. On the other hand, there's the opposite approach. So
Give a finger and they'll bite off your hand.
you can't really win. So the next verse states, your job is to sing. Ashira Duchan. And yet you came close, oh Jeffrey, and all your brothers, B'nai Levi, Tachu Bikashtem Gam Kuna. You weren't satisfied with being the tribe of Levi, you also want the kahuna. Rashi says, also Sherus, Sherachik Mimenev, Sharadat Israel. You weren't happy, you came to that service, and you were serving the rest of the people, but now you also want the kahuna. By the way, this makes perfect sense that Korach would be jealous, because like we've said many times, you're always jealous of the one closest to you. That's the concept of jealousy. You're not jealous of somebody who you have nothing to do with. They thought when they started the kibbutzim that there'd be no jealousy, but they're filled with jealousy. Jeffrey lived in communist Russia for a while. Is there any jealousy amongst the people there since they all communism?
The basis of communism is if somebody has a car that builds a house that's nicer than yours, you burn it down.
So there is jealousy.
The basis of jealousy, uncontrolled jealousy.
Now,
so anybody that has anything more than anybody else destroys what the other guy has.
So
everybody is equally bankrupt.
So basically, the idea is even though everybody's supposed to have the same exact thing, the person who has just a little bit more sparks
because it's based on jealousy, and it's a very important fact that you saw what happened.
Yeah, no, it's jealousy is not, and we can learn a lot from this for ourselves because we might not be jealous, but we might be unhappy. It's not based upon an objective standard. A happy person is always going to be happy. An unhappy person will always be unhappy.
Mutual nothing.
No, I'm saying there's two things. There's one is jealousy, and then there's whether or not we are happy with our lot in life. If you're a happy person, you'll always, basically, generally speaking, be happy. Whether or not you have, whether or not you're the CEO of Amazon or you're the schlepper in, I'm not minimizing, but let's say you're the lowest level menial position. If you're happy, you'll be happy. If you're not happy, you won't be happy.
That's why what's the one don't be jealous of your neighbor?
That's the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, they hope you're the masses.
Yeah, that's what they don't like that one.
When they say that the Western civilized way of making people not jealous.
It doesn't work, and I think the way to be not jealous is to have a relationship with God. If you have a relationship with God where you're grateful to God for whatever God has given us, then why would you be jealous? You'll never be jealous. You'll always be grateful for everything, and you won't think you need anything more. So it all comes from the same thing: jealousy, arrogance. It all comes from a lack of gratitude. So, therefore, Moshe says, therefore, you and the whole community were gathering against Hashem and Aaron. What is he? That you make complaints against Aaron. Why are you starting up with Aaron? Rashi says, because of this. Hashem keep Aaron. Rashi saying that Moshe saying, your argument is not with me, it's with Elon's grandfather. Who's Elon's grandfather? Aaron. It's with your grandfather Aaron. Okay, Shkoyach, Mendy, and Levi. You get Rabbi Chumash or you got a Chumash? Okay. No, that's a Gemara. That's Menachem. What do you prefer, Menachem or Mendy? Okay. So, verse 12. Vayishlach Moshe Likro L'Datan L'Avir B'nei Eliyav. Moshe called to Datan and Avirav Datan and Aviram, the children of Eliav, Vayomer lo na'aleh. They said, we're not going to go up. This is also a beautiful Rashi. Rashi notices that it's Moshe, the one who calls them. Can you imagine? Moshe is the one who is disrespectful. They were disrespectful to Moshe. Moshe is the leader of the people. And yet Moshe is humiliating himself or humbling himself by calling them. Rashi says, Mikan she'em machzikim b'machlokas. You're not supposed to keep a dispute up. Moshe mechazer achreim ra'ashlimem b'divrei shalom. Moshe went after them to restore harmony with them with words of peace. So that's what's going on.
It's the hardest thing to do.
What's the hardest thing to do?
So you're in a focus with somebody and you think you're right, but to go after them to try to resolve it.
Well, you're saying it's harder to go if you're right or if you're wrong.
You think you're right in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
reaching out to try to resolve
You
it.
think that they're an idiot and yet you still reach out. That ever happened to you?
They should reach to you. 'Cause,
Yeah.
they hurt you or they harmed you. They should reach to you. Like wait, and so you wait, and then
But Moshe shows leadership here. The leadership is the one who reaches out. I actually think it's the opposite. I actually find that it's easier to reach out when you know you're right. And when you think you're wrong,
it takes the humility.
yeah.
You have
Well, in
the
negotiating,
humility of much.
Either way, it's hard to reach out. Either if you're right or if you're wrong, it's hard to reach out. But there's a certain arrogance that comes, or self-righteousness that comes to reaching out when you know you didn't do anything wrong. You're almost a little self-righteous. You're like, all right, I'll take the high road because it's very easy. You didn't do anything wrong. So it's very easy to take the high road because you know whatever the person said doesn't matter to you. So you follow what I'm saying, Eric?
I do.
Yeah.
I think I react the opposite.
That when you're yeah.
And it's hard. If I made a mistake, I want to resolve it because I feel guilty that I feel badly that I did something wrong to somebody, and I want to resolve it. But if I feel like they did something wrong to me,
You wait.
it's harder to initiate.
Also, it depends who it's with, the nature of the dispute, who it's with. Oh, Gadi, how you doing? Baruch Hashem. Okay, so now they said we're not going up. Well, now, PM Shilem, Shalem El Yerida. The Rashi's, so, Thera, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Were you trying to say something?
Just that if you're trying to negotiate with somebody and you know you're right, you reach out to them because otherwise you're not going to get what you want. And you have to kind of take it down.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll respond. But if you come from a self-righteous position, you're not going to be able to reach anything to anybody. And you're just going to be stuck. So it takes a person who is confident in their that they're right to be able to humble themselves. Which is what most is saying. Most knows he's right. He's humble himself. He's trying to reach himself.
Mhm.
So
Very beautiful. So thank you, Thera. And look at the next words. Rashi says, "Lo na'aleh." Doesn't Aviram say, "Will not go up." Rashi notes, "Pihem hichshileim." Their mouths sealed their fate, basically. She'ein lahem el yerida. Because in the end, what happens? They sink into the ground. So they could have said, so they prophesied without knowing. They said, "Well, now," but Rashi's also noticing that a big theme of the verse of the whole story is going up and going down, and Korach and his followers go down. Moshe and his followers Moshe wants to go up, and you have that choice in life. You can't stay here. You can either go up or you go down. So we have to ask ourselves, what's today going to bring? So now they criticize him. They say, "You're the one who brought us up one time." Notice where they brought him up from. You brought us up from the land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, which is actually partially true, that he did bring them up, but not from a land flowing with milk and honey. And it's their fault they're dying in the wilderness. So that's the problem. A partial truth is very, very hard to defeat. And now kitistarer oenu gam mistarer. You also want to rule over us. And so they say, first of all, aflo it's about chalav vash. You didn't bring us into a land flowing with milk and honey. You didn't give us inheritance of a field and a vineyards. Even if you poke out our eyes, well, now we will not ascend. Rashi says, you didn't give us var musav al. The matter refers back to you did not, Amor Lamawa, meaning to say, you did not bring us into this land. So Rashi is telling us the verse. And even if you send someone to put out our eyes, if we don't go up, we won't go. Okay. Hanashim Ha'im, that's just the way you speak about a curse. You don't put it on yourselves. Moshe Ma'od, and Moshe was very upset. So that seems like that's a sin right there. That why is he upset? Because the people are challenging him. What does he think? Does he think he's going to be the leader of the Jewish people and they're not going to attack him?
Well, that they didn't, they wouldn't even respond to him when he reached out to me.
Yeah, but still, it's emphasizing that even though he could be right on the issue, now he's not only angry, very angry. Nitzta'er, Rashi says, Nitzta'er ad lima'od. It distressed him greatly. I just cut you off, Gadi.
Okay. But they're using a term that they basically belong in the Torah to Eretz Israel, Eretz Zavat Chalav Udvash.
Yeah, they're flipping it on it. That's what we said. They're flipping the argument on its head. They're taking the action that Moshe that they did wrong and saying Moshe did it wrong. They do the opposite. This is what the people of Korach and his followers did. Rashi's saying that the word vayichar does not mean anger here, but it means nitzta'er. He was distressed. He was very upset, but he wasn't angry. That's how Rashi understands it. Vayomer al Hashem, and Moshe says to God, Al tefen al milchasam, do not take their offering. I didn't take anybody's incense. I did not wrong anyone. Rashi says, don't take their offering. What does that mean? Literally, it refers to their incense. Don't take the incense offering they'll bring tomorrow. Midrasho, but the Midrash says, Moshe says, so Rashi says another idea based upon the Midrash, meaning to say every day we bring a communal offering in the morning and at night. And Rashi saying Moshe was saying, and the communal offering is something everybody participates in, but he was saying in this case, leave a part of the communal offering over. Don't touch it. Don't accept it as a sign that you're not accepting their offering. Can you pass me that box of tissues? Thank you. So that's what Rashi says. And now, I didn't take a donkey from any one of them. I didn't take anybody's donkey. Basically, I paid for my own taxis. That's what he's saying. Even when I traveled from Midian to Egypt, and I took my wife and children, my travel expenses, I could have made the Jewish people pay. I paid for my own travel. So, first of all, the question is, did they ever accuse Moshe of taking their money? Was that an accusation?
No, for attacking his leadership, the implications that he's using that for his own thing.
They're implying it. You're saying, yeah, it could be, but they never said it. They never accused them of it. And also, you see the same exact defense with Shmuel the prophet when they want to take a king, And Shmuel says, I didn't take anybody's donkey. I'm sorry, Eric.
I was gonna say,
But the thing is his defense about the accusation, meaning to say he's not responding to the attack. He's making up a different argument. Unless they accuse him of it and we don't see it. It's possible that his response is taking in the text.
yeah, that could be that it's somewhere that it's not directly in the text, but it's also a natural human reaction. You're under attack and you're saying, I worked so hard for you. I didn't take, I didn't
do it.
I've been ethical. I've worked hard. Why are you attacking me? It's
What's my motivation? My motivation.
Yeah, what's my motivation? I'm not enriching myself out of all this. I'm working hard. I'm traveling. I'm paying for my own travel expenses, and this is what I get for it.
it's a very human reaction.
Well, I'm thinking if anybody's been in a position of leadership, they've been attacked wrongfully, sometimes justly, but a lot of times it's very easy to make an attack. I mean, especially like if one person's the leader and the other person is, a member of like whatever group, it doesn't cost anything to make the attack, but the leader has to deal with it.
He sacrificed a lot for the people.
Yeah, unending sacrifice.
And he's feeling
Put upon, underappreciated. But the problem is, even Moshe Rabbeinu goes back to the issue that we were discussing before, which is the lack of gratitude. If he would have he's the most humble man on the face of the earth, and he still fell into this trap. Because he's saying, I shouldn't be attacked like this. No, that's the wrong approach. We are what Hashem is telling us. We're in the position Hashem is.
That's why he accounted for everything. There's temple things.
doesn't mean it's
Count for every any.
Right. There was nothing missing.
He's anticipated the attack.
I'm not saying he's just that he's right to react this way. I'm just saying it's a very human.
It's natural for sure. Yeah. And he says, nor have they wronged either one of them. But that's, again, they're not saying to Moshe, you're a capricious leader who's embezzling. They said to him, you gave the position to your brother. They said to him, you didn't fulfill your campaign promise. You promised us entry into the land of Canaan, and we didn't get it. Okay. So next pasuk. Vayomer Moshe al Korach.
But that is a form of corruption. If he's being accused of, because you're giving an important position to somebody based on, it's a form of corruption.
What's that got to do with the donkey though? Why would you say that?
That's why he's defending himself. He's been basically accused of being corrupt and defending himself and saying he's not corrupt.
That's saying I didn't take a donkey. It's not so relevant.
Well, he's saying you're accusing me of being corrupt by giving the plum position to my brother Aaron. I didn't even take one donkey. I paid for my own travel. My own travel. I'm an honest guy. I don't even touch my own donkey. I mean, I don't even give you the bill for my Uber.
Right.
I pay for my Ubers. Vayomer Moshe al Korach ata v'chol adasecha hayu avnei Hashem ata v'hem v'aron machar. Moshe says to Korach, you and the whole community be before God, you and they, Rashi says your assembly, and Aaron tomorrow. And everybody should take his fire pan, put the incense on them. And everybody should take 250 fire pans. The 250 men. And each one took their fire pan. And they put the fire on them. And they put the incense on them. They stood at the entrance of Moshe and Aaron. And Korach gathered the whole community al Pesach al Moed. So Korach gathered everybody there. And now God appears. Yes, Jerry had a question.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm a little late in posing the question. We have an example today. So many leaders in our current uh, century uh, 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 rob their own people of
Embezzle.
his wealth. And so
Yeah.
it's a universal kind of problem, and that's why Korach was, whether he verbally expressed it or he implied that Moshe, as a leader, was screwing the people.
You know, it's an evergreen complaint. I mean, any time in history, you can look at any campaign and they'll probably give that argument. You know, like drain the swamp. What do you think that means? It means everybody's corrupt. That's what it is. You can go back to every single election, you know, get rid of the insiders. It's an evergreen complaint. Probably because there's a lot of truth to it, but it's what it is. Now, so the verse says, Rashi says, Korach gathered the people. Rashi says, "B'divrei leitzanus," with words of mockery. This is how Rashi is telling us how Korach was able to gather everyone. What happened was, the whole night he went to all the different tribes and was convincing them, seducing them. You think I'm doing this for myself? I don't need any of this. I'm just doing it for all of you. So these people are taking everything for themselves. They're taking the kingship and the kuna. I'm not doing any for myself. What I love about this parsha is that human nature has not changed one iota. That the same exact arguments that demagogues and political leaders make today was exactly the same arguments that Rashi, writing 1,000 years ago, puts in the Korach, who was living 2,500 years before that. That the human nature, all these arguments are exactly the same. Like, we have not evolved as a race, as a humankind, not one bit. In fact, some might say we have devolved, but that's a different point. So we have to stop here. And just to go over the schedule is what? You can